Dealing with a difficult customer is a fact of life when you're running a successful business. As a washing machine and dryer repairman, I've encountered all sorts of challenging customers, from those who demand credit to those with unpleasant personalities, even to those who insist on services outside of regular business hours. But over time, I've learned some strategies for dealing with these situations that have helped me stay calm and professional and in control. Hi, I'm Chip. Welcome to my channel, and let's get right into it. When a customer wants credit, even though they've been told no, I try using the because trick. By giving them a reason why I can't offer credit, even if it's something small, it helps them feel more satisfied with my response and less likely to argue or demand credit. For example, you might say, "I'm sorry, but we can't delay payment because it creates cash flow issues for our business, and that impacts our ability to provide efficient service to our other customers." Dealing with customers who request service but then try to delay the payment can also be frustrating, and it can create cash flow issues too. To avoid this, it's important to have a clear payment policy in place and to communicate your payment policy to your customers before you begin work. And one way to do this is to establish payment terms during the initial phone call when the customer requests service. You can explain that payment is expected at the time of service and that you do not offer credit or delayed payment options. I always state clearly during the initial call that service calls are $55, $65 when they're out of town, plus the cost of parts and sales tax. Payment is expected when the work is done, and I accept cash, checks, and most major credit cards. If you say this like it's been memorized, and it has, you will have stated the terms of your agreement, and you can follow this up with asking if they have any questions or concerns about payment before scheduling the call. If you do this for every encounter, you will build a reputation that will be respected, and when you have that person for a repeat customer, there won't be any issues about payment. Another option is to require a deposit or a partial payment up front if the repair is going to be a particularly expensive one before beginning the work. Now, this can help ensure that the customer is committed to paying for the service and can help cover any costs or expenses associated with the job. As an appliance repairman, it's not uncommon to work with large customers such as appliance stores, apartment complexes, laundromats, and other business interests. In some cases, it may be necessary to extend credit to these customers to secure their business. However, it's important to be cautious when entering into these arrangements and to set clear terms of payment, such as expecting net payment in 30 days from the beginning. If these businesses are consistently late in payment, it's important to act quickly and to end the credit arrangement and require full payment up front for future services. While it can be tempting to continue to extend credit to these customers to maintain their business, it's important not to become over-reliant on them. Once large customers have proven their creditworthiness, extending credit to them can be a viable option. However, it's important to regularly review their payment history and adjust credit terms accordingly. By being vigilant and cautious, you can ensure the financial health of your business while also maintaining positive relationships with your larger customers. Overall, it's important to be clear and upfront about your payment policies and to establish expectations with customers before beginning work. By doing so, you can help prevent delays in payment and maintain a healthy cash flow for your business. For instance, let's say a customer wants credit for repairs, but the policy is strictly no credit to individuals. Instead of just saying no, I explain the policy and I offer a reason why I can't offer credit, even if it's something small. For example, I might say, "I'm sorry, but we can't offer credit for repairs because it's against our policy, and it would be unfair to our other customers who pay in full up front." If after you've stated your policy and they still insist on an exception for themselves, a firm no will always work. By giving a reason, even a small one, it helps the customer feel like they've been heard and their request is being taken seriously. And this can diffuse their frustration and make them less likely to argue or demand credit from you. When faced with unpleasant customers who have a bad attitude, I usually use a psychological technique called mirroring. This involves repeating back what the customer is saying in a calm and a non-judgmental tone. For example, if a customer says, "This repair is taking way too long, I have other things to do," I might respond by saying, "Well, I understand that you're feeling frustrated. I realize the repair is taking longer than expected, but it's important to do this right." Now, this technique can help diffuse the customer's negativity and show that I'm actively listening to their concerns. It can also help establish a sense of empathy and understanding between myself and the customer. And dealing with abusive individuals can be even more challenging, but I try to use calibrated questions to help them think through their behavior and the consequences of it. For example, I might ask a customer who is being verbally abusive, "How do you think your behavior is affecting the repair process and our ability to work together to find a solution?" Now, this type of question can help the customer recognize the impact of their behavior and may even prompt them to see the situation from a different perspective. While it's important to maintain professional boundaries and not tolerate abuse, the goal is to find a way to de-escalate the situation and work towards a positive resolution. But even so, if the abuse continues, it's time to walk away from the situation. There will be those rare occasions when you will just have to refuse your services and suggest the client have another repairman do the job. Don't be confrontational, just turn the page. Try not to let their bad behavior ruin your day. The anchoring technique is a psychological trick used to influence people's perceptions of the value of a product or a service. It works by starting with a high price point and then working your way down to the actual price, which can make the actual price seem more reasonable and therefore more attractive. Let's say, for example, a customer wants free repairs after the warranty time has expired. Instead of just saying no outright, you could use the anchoring technique by saying something like, I understand your frustration, but unfortunately the cost of repairs outside of the warranty can be quite high. Usually it runs up to about $150. However, because we value your business, we're willing to offer a discounted price of $100 for the repair. And by starting with a higher price point of $150, the customers are more likely to perceive the discounted price of $100 as a good deal, even though it's still a cost that they were initially not willing to pay. This can help the customer feel more satisfied with the price that they're going to be paying and reduce the chances of them arguing on demanding further discounts. And it's important to note that the anchoring technique should be used ethically and transparently, and not to manipulate customers into paying more than they should. The goal is to help the customers understand the value of your services and feel more satisfied with the price that they're paying. As an appliance repair professional, you may encounter customers who feel entitled to contact you outside of the regular business hours. And this can include phone calls at odd times of the day or night, or requests for service on weekends or holidays. And while it's important to provide excellent customer service, it's also important to maintain a healthy work-life balance and set boundaries for when you are available. One effective technique for discouraging contact outside of business hours is the door-in-the-face technique. Here's how it works. When a customer contacts you with a request for service outside of regular business hours, politely decline their initial request and explain that you prioritize your personal time and your work-life balance. For example, you might say, "I'm sorry, but I don't provide services outside of regular business hours. It's important for me to have time to recharge and spend time with my family." After declining their initial request, follow up with a more reasonable alternative. For example, you could offer to schedule an appointment during extended business hours or suggest the next available time slot. This can help the customer understand the value of your time and your availability, while also setting clear boundaries and discouraging contact outside of business hours. It's important to remain polite and professional when using the door-in-the-face technique, and to emphasize the importance of work-life balance and personal time. By setting clear boundaries and using this technique consistently, you can establish a reputation as a reliable and professional appliance repair service while also maintaining a healthy work-to-life balance. Now, despite our best efforts, some customers will simply be difficult to please no matter how much we try. It's important to keep in mind that you cannot please everyone and not to let these customers bring down the satisfaction and enjoyment you get from running your own business. Instead, focus on the customers who appreciate your work and respect your boundaries. The next time you encounter a difficult customer, try using these strategies and see how they can help you navigate challenging situations with confidence and grace. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, and if I've earned your subscription, I thank you. Chip is out.